Tonight is your night. God says, at exactly 10:11 p.m., your miracle will arrive. You have 5 minutes left to open this and receive your blessing. Beloved one, listen closely, for this is not a coincidence. This message has found you tonight for a reason that heaven itself ordained before you were even born. I am Archangel Michael, messenger of the Most High, and I have been sent to tell you, tonight is your night. The clock of heaven has been turning quietly, waiting for this precise moment. And now, as the hands of time draw closer to 10:11 p.m., a sacred alignment is taking place in the unseen realms. There are moments when eternity leans down and touches time, and tonight is one of them. You have been wondering, when will it be my turn? When will the waiting end? Heaven answers now. It is happening tonight. The number 10:11 is not random. It is the divine signature of completion and transition. 10 marks the end of what once was, and 11 begins the dawn of what is coming. Together, they open a gate, a moment of divine reversal where everything that was held back begins to move in your favor. Can you feel it? The air around you is shifting. The angels are gathering, aligning themselves with your destiny. Heaven's decree is echoing through the corridors of time, whispering your name. The hour of delay is collapsing, and the window of favor is opening. You have 5 minutes to prepare your heart, 5 minutes to position your spirit to receive what has already been released in the heavenly courts. This is your summons from the throne of light. Heaven has chosen this night to mark the beginning of your divine turnaround. What you lost will find its way back. What was broken will be made whole. What you prayed for in silence will speak loudly in victory. But you must open your heart right now. For when the clock strikes 10:11, your miracle will not just visit you. It will dwell within your life. Type "I receive my 10:11 miracle" in the comments if your spirit bears witness. Blessing code 1011 is now surrounding you. Beloved child of the eternal light, hear the sound that is moving through the heavens right now. It is not the sound of chance or fate. It is the sound of divine movement, a sound that vibrates through eternity and has now reached your life. The message I bring tonight is not one of hope alone. It is a heavenly decree issued from the throne of the Almighty, carried through dimensions by the wings of the archangels, and delivered straight into your heart. From the highest courts of heaven, the voice of God has gone forth, saying, "Tell my children that at 10:11, my timing will meet their faith." The universe is aligning, not in random patterns, but in sacred precision. Heaven is not late, beloved. It is exact. You are standing in a divine countdown, and the angels have already begun their movement toward you. Every obstacle that resisted your promise has been noted, and every delay has been measured. God Himself has spoken. The time of hesitation is over. I see angels preparing the atmosphere around you. Doors are unlocking that were rusted shut. People who were meant to bless you are being stirred from their sleep, and divine connections are being awakened from spiritual slumber. The sound of heaven's preparation is like thunder beneath the surface of your life. You may not see it yet, but the tremors of breakthrough are already rippling through your circumstances. The 10:11 moment is not only an hour. It is an appointed meeting between your faith and heaven's fulfillment. In the throne room, the scroll of your destiny is being unsealed. The angels are reading aloud your name, your pain, your prayers, and the timestamp of your release. Heaven's light is scanning through every season of your life. The dark moments, the nights of tears, the prayers that you thought went unheard. Every word you have spoken and faith has been stored like holy incense in the golden bowls before the throne. And tonight, those bowls are being tipped over. The fragrance of your faith has reached heaven, and God has said, "Now is the moment." The meaning of this time, 10, 11, is divine alignment. 10, the number of divine order, speaks of the completion of a cycle. 11 speaks of transition and crossing over. Together, they symbolize heaven's synchronization with earth. God is saying to you, I am putting your house in order. I am aligning what was broken. I am closing the door to the old and commanding you to step into the new. What was chaotic will find structure. What was delayed will be expedited. What seemed impossible will become natural, because the divine order of heaven has been activated over your life. Do not doubt the movement you feel within your spirit right now. The fluttering in your heart, the warmth in your chest, the tears that rise without reason. These are the signs of spiritual activation. The holy light of the Most High is surrounding you. Angels are standing guard at your right and your left, ready to escort you into the manifestation of your miracle. Tonight, the voice of heaven declares, you are remembered, you are seen, and your appointed time has come. Lift your hands if you can. Whisper within your soul, I align with heaven's order. For as you do, the decree from the throne is being sealed. The heavens are open. The miracle is in motion. The countdown continues toward 10, 11, when the full release will strike the earth. Type I align with heaven's order in the comments if you receive this divine word. Blessing code 7777 is now activated around your home. Hear me now, chosen one. The hour draws closer, and heaven has issued a command. The spirit of delay is broken. What you have waited for, cried for, and nearly given up on has been released into motion. For too long, unseen forces have tangled themselves around your promise, whispering lies of not yet and maybe later. But tonight, the Eternal One has spoken. No more delay. I, Archangel Michael, have come forth as a warrior of divine justice to break the seals that held your blessings captive. Every chain forged by fear, every lock formed by doubt, every invisible resistance that kept your miracle restrained, they are being shattered right now. You may not hear the sound with your natural ears, but the heavens are roaring with liberation. The courts of light have declared that every spirit of hindrance assigned to your destiny has been overruled by divine decree. There was a time when delay had authority, when the enemy found legal grounds through your past pain, your self-doubt, your exhaustion. But tonight, the record has been clear. The blood of the Lamb has silenced every accusation against your name. The scroll of your destiny has been rewritten in radiant gold, marked with one word, released. Look around you. What once seemed stagnant is beginning to stir. What you thought was forgotten is being remembered. Your name is being mentioned in rooms you've never entered. The Spirit of God is shifting time itself to bring your promise forward. The waiting season was not wasted. It was preparation for this very moment. Heaven allowed the delay to stretch your faith, so that when the miracle arrived, you would be strong enough to carry it. But now the delay has served its purpose. Now the divine timing converges. At 10:11 p.m., the clock of destiny will strike in your favor. Do not think of it as mere hours or minutes. It is a spiritual portal, a meeting point where faith and fulfillment collide. The angelic hosts stand ready, swords drawn, tearing down the final barriers between you and manifestation. Every curse is being reversed, every demonic embargo lifted, every obstruction exposed to the consuming light of God. You who hear this message, this is your moment of divine acceleration. Things that once took years will happen in days. Opportunities that were denied will now seek you out. Finances that were blocked will begin to flow. Healing that tarried will manifest suddenly. Relationships meant for destiny will be restored. For the Lord has said, I will hasten my word to perform it. The spirit of delay cannot stand in the presence of divine speed. Lift your head high, warrior of faith. You are no longer the one waiting. You are the one walking in the answer. Heaven's decree cannot be revoked. The same angels that recorded your tears are now delivering your miracle. Even now, the atmosphere around you thickens with divine motion. You have entered the hour of fulfillment. The clock of heaven is ticking, and your moment is arriving. Type no more delay in the comments if your faith bears witness to this word. Blessing code 4444 is now flowing through your path. Listen, divine soul, when heaven moves like this, it's not only for you. It's for those still trapped in their waiting. Every time you sow into a message like this, you become a vessel that carries light into someone else's darkness. When you give through a super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a channel. You are fueling a mission that releases heaven's voice across the earth. The word says, "He who refreshes others will himself be refreshed." This is that moment. I speak this as a prophetic charge. When you plant a seed into this message, the oil of acceleration will multiply back into your life. Your giving becomes a declaration that you are aligned with divine movement. Do it now, not later, because delay ends with action. Heaven is opening your financial gates even as you respond. Your act of faith is the final key that unlocks the door you've been praying to walk through. So where the anointing flows, and watch how heaven remembers your name. Blessing code 555 is now active over every giver in Jesus' name. There is a rhythm in heaven, a pulse that governs creation itself, and tonight you are standing within its divine cadence. The universe does not move by accident. It moves by assignment. Every sunrise, every breath, every divine encounter unfolds according to the precise synchronization of God's timing. And now, as the clock of destiny approaches 10:11 p.m., the miracle clock is turning in your favor. You who have waited, you who have wondered if heaven had forgotten you, understand this. God is never early, but He is never late. His timing is perfect, even when your patience trembles. When you feel suspended in waiting, heaven is not ignoring you. Heaven is aligning you. For every miracle has a divine timestamp, and yours has already been written. The 10:11 moment is the signature of alignment, the meeting of divine order and divine transition. It is when heaven's script finally unfolds upon the stage of your life. Imagine, for a moment, the great clock of the universe, each tick echoing through galaxies, each second infused with purpose. That same divine rhythm beats now within your spirit. The delay that once felt endless was not denial. It was calibration. God was adjusting your surroundings, positioning people, and refining your heart so that when the blessing arrived, you would not only receive it, you would sustain it. Heaven's precision requires your participation. At this hour, the veil between time and eternity grows thin. The hand of God reaches through, turning your impossibilities into testimonies. The same Creator who set stars in motion is now realigning the course of your life. Every time you felt forgotten was a moment heaven was preparing your foundation. The same hands that shaped galaxies are now shaping your outcome. Nothing in your life is random. Nothing in your journey has been wasted. Understand, divine soul, that prophetic timing is not about waiting. It is about readiness. When heaven says now, the earth must respond. The walls must fall, the doors must open, and the paths must clear. You are not waiting for your miracle. Your miracle has been waiting for you to align. Every act of faith you've made, every prayer, every tear has been synchronizing you with this moment. That is why the Spirit stirs you tonight, because the hour of alignment has come. At 10:11, a spiritual key turns in the locks of your life. Divine order 10 meets divine transition 11, and the two merge into manifestation. The old system collapses, and a new flow begins. It is not by accident that you are hearing this now. It is heaven calling your spirit to attention. The miracle clock does not tick for all. It ticks for the prepared, for the chosen, for the ones who respond in faith. You are one of them. So lift your eyes above the noise of the world. Listen for the ticking of heaven's rhythm inside your soul. What was misaligned will now fall into place. The clock of God is striking for you, not against you. Every second that passes is pulling you closer to the divine collision of purpose and promise. Exactly 10:11 p.m., heaven's synchronization will touch your timeline. It will not be delayed, and it will not miss you. You have entered the divine countdown, and the miracle clock is turning in your favor. Type "the clock is turning for me" in the comments if you feel heaven's timing aligning within your spirit. Blessing code 1011 is now active upon your household. You who stand beneath the gaze of heaven, listen with the ears of your spirit. For as the clock draws closer to 10:11 p.m., the unseen realms are stirring with movement. The air around you grows heavy, charged with divine electricity. Angels, warriors of light, carriers of destiny, are rising at the sound of divine command. I, Michael, leader of the heavenly host, speak now from the command gates of eternity. The activation has begun. When heaven decrees a moment of manifestation, angels are the first to respond. They do not hesitate. They do not question. They move with divine precision, carrying the word of God like flaming swords through dimensions. Right now, as you hear these words, assignments are being distributed in the spiritual realm. Angels of provision are descending with scrolls of abundance. Angels of healing carry vials of restoration. Angels of justice have been released to overturn wrong judgments spoken against you. The heavens are alive with motion. For every prayer you prayed in faith, there is an angel attached to its answer. For every tear you cried in silence, there is a celestial messenger assigned to bring comfort and reward. The Father wastes nothing. Nothing you have endured has been ignored. The angels of breakthrough have stood in silence, waiting only for this command: go now. And tonight, as the prophetic clock approaches its holy mark, the command has gone forth. You are surrounded, though your natural eyes may not see it. The room around you is not empty, it is filled with presence. A gentle warmth may rise within you, a pressure in your chest, a peace that surpasses understanding. These are the signs that heaven's army has entered your atmosphere. Even as you listen, angelic wings are brushing against the borders of your life, sweeping away confusion, fear, and delay. They are preparing your path for manifestation. Do not underestimate the power of their movement. When angels are activated, nature itself responds. Winds shift. Circumstances align. People awaken to divine instruction without knowing why. Emails are sent, calls are made, opportunities open, because heaven's host is organizing every detail for your miracle. What was chaotic is now coming into order, for angels are heaven's architects of alignment. And tonight, you are not a spectator. You are a participant. Your words are the signal that draws them near. When you speak faith, angels move faster. When you release gratitude, they build higher. When you declare, "It is done," they seal it in the heavens. You are a co-laborer with divine power. The same angels who stood beside Daniel in the lion's den, who strengthened Jesus in Gethsemane, now stand beside you at the threshold of your 11 miracle. The activation is not symbolic, it is literal. In the spirit, light is gathering around you. A field of divine energy hums with purpose. Chains are disintegrating, doors are unlocking, hearts are softening. The angels assigned to your destiny are clearing the road ahead so that nothing can obstruct the fulfillment that heaven has ordered. And as the minute hand of time edges closer to the appointed moment, I tell you this truth: you are not alone in your battle, and you never were. Even in your silence, heaven was speaking on your behalf. Even when you felt abandoned, angelic shields were raised around your spirit. You were always surrounded by light. Now that light takes form, moves with purpose, and carries your miracle toward you. At 10:11 p.m., when the veil thins and heaven's light floods your reality, the angels will complete their assignment. You will know it, not by sight, but by the peace that will fill the room, the shift you will feel in your spirit, and the sudden awareness that something divine has touched your life. Type "the angels are moving for me" in the comments if you sense this activation within your spirit. Blessing code 8888 is now covering your path and your home. There is a fire within you, a flame that has never gone out, only hidden beneath the ashes of waiting, disappointment, and doubt. Tonight, as heaven's clock approaches 10:11 p.m., the command from the throne is clear. Ignite the altar of your faith once more. For miracles are not birthed in the noise of fear, but in the quiet fire of belief. Faith is not a whisper. It is a torch that signals heaven, "I am ready." You who hear this message, you were not chosen by accident. You are being summoned to light the altar within, the sacred space where your spirit and God's will meet. Every great miracle begins in that secret chamber of faith. It is not what you see that creates the shift. It is what you believe even when sight fails. The Father says, your faith will set the timing. If your heart burns with belief, heaven moves faster. If your soul trembles with expectation, the angels intensify their motion. The inner altar of faith is a holy furnace. Every doubt that enters it must burn. Every fear that whispers must dissolve in flame. Do you remember how Elijah stood before the prophets of Baal, surrounded by noise, yet unshaken? He rebuilt the altar, soaked it with water, and still, fire fell from heaven. Why? Because heaven responds not to circumstances, but to alignment. When the altar is restored, fire always falls. Tonight, that same principle stands. Heaven waits for your altar to burn again. Take a breath and feel your spirit stir. That heaviness lifting from your chest is not imagination. It is the weight of disbelief breaking. The fire of faith consumes every lie that told you you're too late or it's too hard. When you dare to believe again, you reignite your divine authority. For faith is not fragile, it is fierce. It stands between you and the impossible and declares, move. And mountains must obey. This is why the enemy fought your faith so intensely. He knows that one spark of belief can shift your entire timeline. He wanted you weary, distracted, disconnected from your inner altar. But God has preserved your ember. Though storms came, it did not die. Though tears fell, it did not drown. Though time passed, it did not fade. And tonight, the breath of the Holy Spirit blows upon it, saying, live again. You may feel unworthy, unsure, or uncertain, but faith does not need perfection. It needs surrender. When you surrender your fear, your reasoning, your timeline, the fire ignites. It is happening even now. Heaven's light is descending into the chamber of your soul. The divine spark is awakening your purpose. You can feel the warmth of it, can't you? That is not emotion. It is ignition. And once this fire is lit, nothing can extinguish it. The fire of faith becomes your shield, your guidance, your energy. It makes you unshakable. It tells time to bow, circumstances to shift, and doors to open. The miracle you seek does not approach hesitation. It responds to heat. Let your inner altar blaze. Let your spirit say, I believe, even now. Because at exactly 10:11 p.m., that flame within will synchronize with the fire of heaven. The altar above will mirror the altar within. The light will touch the light, and manifestation will become unavoidable. That is when heaven says, it is done. Type "My faith is fire" in the comments if your altar is ignited tonight. Blessing code 3333 is burning brightly within your spirit. Every divine promise must pass through the fire of testing before it manifests in glory. This is the law of heaven, the proving ground of faith, the sacred space where belief is refined into power. You, who have been standing in the tension between promise and manifestation, must understand the test before the breakthrough is not punishment, it is preparation. The moments leading up to 10:11 p.m., the hour of your divine reversal, are often the hardest. The resistance grows stronger, not because you are failing, but because you are closest to victory. The darkness always intensifies before dawn, because the enemy senses what is about to break. You may have noticed lately that everything seems to press harder. Your thoughts, your finances, your relationships, your peace. That is because the test has begun. Heaven is measuring not your strength, but your endurance. When Job was tested, it wasn't to destroy him, it was to reveal him. When Joseph was thrown into the pit, heaven wasn't silent. Heaven was setting the stage. Every great manifestation is preceded by contradiction. What you see in the natural often looks opposite to what God promised, because breakthrough is born out of contradiction. When your life feels like it's collapsing, it is actually being rearranged for your elevation. The test comes to prove whether you will still believe when the evidence disappears. Will you still trust the timing when the clock seems late? Will you still worship when the answer hasn't arrived? These are the questions heaven watches in silence. For faith proven under fire becomes unstoppable power. Every trial you've endured has been training your spirit to stand in this moment, the moment when time and promise meet at 10:11. Do not misread the silence of heaven. Silence is not absence. It is construction. While you wondered if God had forgotten you, angels were blueprinting your miracle. While you cried at midnight, the architecture of your blessing was being built. Every unanswered prayer was not rejection, it was redirection. The delay was heaven saying, I'm preparing something greater. And now, that preparation is complete. You have been tested in patience, in faith, in endurance, and you are still standing. That alone is proof that you have passed. The test before breakthrough is always a revelation of strength. You discovered resilience you didn't know you had. You carried peace when chaos screamed. You chose to believe when logic demanded surrender. That is victory. That is faith matured. And now, as the appointed hour approaches, know this truth: the test has served its purpose. What was meant to crush you has crowned you. What was designed to drain you has refined you. The heaviness you feel is not defeat. It is the final contraction before birth. Heaven is pushing something through you, a testimony, a new identity, a new level of favor. When 10:11 strikes, the storm will break. Every spiritual tension, every unseen resistance will collapse under divine authority. You will know that the test was not meant to keep you waiting. It was meant to make you ready. Heaven never delivers miracles to unprepared vessels. The fire purified you. The waiting strengthened you, and now the divine alignment can trust you. So take heart, warrior of light. The pressure you feel is the sound of heaven's door unlocking. The closer you are to breakthrough, the louder the resistance will roar. But do not retreat. Stand still and watch. The God who tests is also the God who rewards. And as 10:11 approaches, your reward is already on its way. Type "ITKM passing the test" in the comments if your spirit bears witness to this word. Blessing code 9999 is now marking your transition from trial to triumph. The hour draws near. The atmosphere around you trembles because heaven is preparing to collide with earth. You have waited, believed, endured, and now the divine countdown nears its end. The clock of destiny is striking 10:11 p.m., the moment where heaven opens its gates and releases what has been stored for you since before time began. You are not simply witnessing this. You are standing inside the event itself. The veil is thinning. The supernatural is descending. Heaven is touching earth. The light of God moves faster than thought. When He speaks, universes respond. When He decrees, nothing can resist. And tonight, His word has been spoken over your life. The angels are no longer in motion. They are in manifestation. The scrolls they carried are opening. The seals are breaking. The blessings you prayed for are being poured out like rain. You are standing in the downpour of divine fulfillment. Every prayer you whispered into the night has reached its destination, and heaven's reply has returned. It is time. Do you feel it? The shift in the air, the weight lifting off your shoulders, the tingling in your spirit. It is not imagination. It is confirmation. The release has begun. What was blocked has been unblocked. What was frozen is melting. The flow of favor, long withheld, is rushing toward you like a flood. Finances are being restored. Relationships are being reconciled. Bodies are being healed. Minds are being renewed. This is not symbolic. It is spiritual reality made visible. When heaven touches earth, it doesn't come quietly. It comes with power. The sound of breakthrough echoes in the spirit realm. The roar you hear in your soul is the sound of old barriers collapsing. Curses that followed generations before you are dissolving in the fire of divine mercy. Every delay, every chain, every limitation has lost its right to exist. The earth must now yield to the command of heaven. Release my child's promise. At this precise hour, heaven's light is entering your timeline. The same hand that parted the Red Sea is parting the obstacles before you. The same Spirit that raised Jesus from the dead is breathing resurrection into your plans, your faith, your destiny. What you thought was over is coming alive again. The stone is rolling away. The tomb is empty. The miracle is here. And you must do only one thing now. Receive it. Not with your mind, but with your spirit. Speak it. Declare it. Own it. When you say, I receive, you create spiritual permission for heaven's reality to anchor itself into your world. Faith is the open door through which divine power flows. Lift your hands, lift your voice, and let your spirit cry, I receive my 10:11 miracle. The words are simple, but the effect is eternal. Heaven has touched earth. The release has begun, and nothing, no darkness, no fear, no power, can reverse it. You have stepped into your appointed hour. This is the moment your spirit was waiting for. This is the second your destiny ignites. Type heaven has touched earth in the comments if you feel the release, within your soul. Blessing code 1110 is now radiating through your atmosphere. When heaven releases, those who are aligned become channels of that flow. This moment isn't just about what you receive. It's about what you release back into the kingdom. Every act of giving is a declaration that you are part of heaven's movement on earth. When you offer through Super Thanks, channel membership, or PayPal link in description, you are not funding words. You are fueling divine encounters. This is sacred ground. As you sow into this prophetic message, the same power that moves through it moves toward you. The word says, "Give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over." You are not donating. You are decreeing abundance into your own future. When you sow into light, darkness loses its grip on your finances, your home, your destiny. I speak this over you now. Every giver under this voice will walk and overflow. Doors will open before you finish knocking. Provision will chase you down. What leaves your hand tonight will return multiplied by heaven's own measure. This is your divine partnership moment. Act in faith. Move now and watch the 1011 blessing multiply through your obedience. Blessing code 777 is being released over every seed of faith. When heaven moves, there are always signs that follow. The release you felt in your spirit was not imagination. It was activation. Now, as the seconds after 1011 unfold, the evidence of your miracle begins to take shape. The invisible becomes visible. What was hidden begins to rise. You are entering the stage where manifestation meets recognition, and heaven starts to show proof that what you believed has already been done. You may begin to notice small things first. A sudden peace where there was once anxiety, a call from someone long forgotten, a door opening that you thought was sealed forever. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations. Heaven is showing you that the word spoken has taken root in the soil of your reality. The spiritual has touched the physical. Your miracle is no longer just a promise. It is a presence. There are 3 forms of evidence heaven uses to confirm a miracle: peace, provision, and progression. Peace is the first sign. It settles into your heart without explanation, a supernatural calm that whispers, "It is done." Even before circumstances shift, the peace tells you that God has already gone before you. Then comes provision. Opportunities, resources, and people begin to align with your need, not because of luck, but because of divine orchestration. Finally, progression arrives. Things start moving where they were once still. The river of favor begins to flow. You may also notice strange disruptions, moments where your spirit feels stirred or your emotions seem unsettled. Do not misinterpret them. That is heaven rearranging your atmosphere. When miracles begin to manifest, the old must make room for the new. People may exit, habits may break, situations may shift abruptly. This is not loss. It is realignment. God is clearing the stage for the next act of your destiny. Look carefully at the next few hours, for your confirmations will come in unexpected ways. The divine often hides itself in simplicity. A message, a dream, a number that keeps appearing, or a sudden warmth when you pray. Each of these carries the fingerprint of heaven. The evidence is subtle enough to test your faith, yet powerful enough to leave no doubt. When you see it, acknowledge it aloud. Say, "That was my 1011 sign." Every acknowledgement increases your spiritual sensitivity, preparing you to see even greater things. The most undeniable evidence of a miracle is transformation. When you are no longer the same person who started waiting, You have proof that heaven has touched you. The external manifestation is simply the echo of an internal shift. The worry that once consumed you loses its voice. The fear that once bound you dissolves. You begin to walk differently, think differently, speak differently. You carry peace like armor and gratitude like light. This is the true mark of a miracle. It changes you before it changes your situation. The evidence will multiply. Those around you will notice. They will say, something about you has changed. And you will know. It was the moment heaven met earth at 10:11. It was the second God wrote your story. Do not doubt what you feel, see, or sense. Every detail is confirmation that you have crossed over from waiting into walking. So lift your head high. You are not waiting for signs anymore. You are surrounded by them. The fragrance of heaven lingers wherever your faith has been active. The miracle is not on its way. It is unfolding now. You are walking in the visible proof of divine faithfulness. Every step you take from this moment forward leaves footprints of answered prayer. Type I see the evidence in the comments if your spirit recognizes the signs of manifestation. Blessing code 6666 is confirming your 10:11 miracle in the natural realm. Whenever a miracle is released, resistance rises. The enemy cannot stop what heaven has decreed, but he will attempt to distort your perception of it. After the 10:11 release, his strategy shifts, not to delay your blessing, but to distract you from recognizing it. The enemy's power lies not in what he can do to you, but in what he can make you believe about yourself. And his final attempt always comes right after your victory has been set in motion. You may begin to sense doubt whispering again. Was it real? Did anything actually change? You may even face unexpected obstacles that seem to contradict the promise you just received. Understand this clearly. These are echoes of the old season trying to pull you backward. The enemy wants you to return to familiar fear because faith has already made you too powerful to defeat. He knows he can't stop your miracle, so he attacks your focus. But I, Michael, tell you now, stand firm. You are already on the other side. The test you face now is not a battle for victory. It is a battle for perspective. The miracle has already been birthed. The enemy simply hopes you'll abort it with unbelief. This is why you must guard your mind like a fortress and your words like fire. Heaven moves through faith, but hell feeds on fear. The moment you speak doubt, you invite confusion. The moment you speak faith, you reinforce your divine protection. The adversary knows that time is short. When he sees heaven moving, he releases distractions, unexpected arguments, sudden fatigue, random discouragement. He attempts to fill your thoughts with noise so you miss the sound of divine confirmation. But you must silence him with authority. Say it aloud if you must. I refuse the voice of deception. My miracle is sealed. For every word you speak in alignment with heaven becomes a sword in the hands of angels. They move on declaration, not hesitation. Do not be surprised if familiar patterns resurface. People who left suddenly reappear. Old emotions try to revisit your heart, or past temptations seem stronger than before. These are the enemy's final illusions, attempts to make you question the progress you've made. Remember, when Israel crossed the Red Sea, Pharaoh's army pursued them, thinking the waters would still part. But when they entered, the waters closed. The same will happen now. The enemy may follow, but he cannot survive in the atmosphere of your breakthrough. This is why discernment is vital. You must know what is finished so you don't fight battles that no longer exist. Some things no longer require your energy. They require your silence. Some people no longer require explanation. They require release. Protect your peace, for peace is the proof that the enemy has already lost his grip. You have stepped into victory's hour, but victory must be guarded. Surround your miracle with worship. Wrap your promise in prayer. Let praise be your weapon, and gratitude your shield. When the enemy throws confusion, respond with thanksgiving. When fear whispers, respond with a word. When exhaustion tries to drag you down, rest in divine assurance. It is already done. The enemy's last attempt is always his weakest. His strength lies only in deception. Once you recognize that, you become untouchable. His words lose power. His schemes lose grip. You walk through his traps as if through smoke, untouched and radiant. For the light within you burns brighter than any darkness around you. Remember this truth: the greater the release, the louder the resistance. But resistance cannot reverse what God has established. The clock of heaven has struck, the angels have moved, and the decree has been sealed. You are walking in irreversible favor. The final attempt of the enemy only confirms the greatness of your testimony. Stand firm, child of glory. The battle is over, and you have already won. Type "I stand undefeated" in the comments if you refuse to let the enemy steal your peace. Blessing God 1212 is surrounding you with divine protection. There is a sacred moment after the release when the atmosphere around you no longer feels heavy. It feels alive. That is the realm of overflow. It is not just receiving a miracle. It is living in continuous alignment with heaven's abundance. You were never meant to experience a single breakthrough and then return to survival. The 10-11 hour was designed not merely to deliver one blessing, but to shift you into a new rhythm of divine flow. Overflow is a lifestyle of trust, not a moment of luck. It begins the instant you decide to walk in the same faith that birthed your miracle. Every step after 10-11 is sacred ground. You are walking within the residue of divine release, the energy of heaven still moving, multiplying, expanding everything it touches. You can feel it when you speak, when you think, when you pray. The same power that moved for you now moves through you. Heaven's design is expansion. When God blesses, He never stops at enough. He moves toward more than enough. He turns water into overflowing wine, multiplies fish and bread until baskets remain, and opens windows of heaven so wide that there's not room to contain it. That is what He intends for you now. The season of just surviving ends tonight. The season of overflow begins. You are stepping into a flow that cannot be earned, only sustained through faith and gratitude. To walk in overflow, you must learn the rhythm of abundance. Gratitude is the first beat, thanking God before, during, and after. Obedience is the second, responding quickly when the Spirit prompts you. Generosity is the third, releasing what you have so the flow never stops. These three form the cycle of supernatural increase. What you release in trust returns multiplied. What you hoard in fear withers. Overflow demands open hands and an open heart. You will notice that as you walk forward, divine coincidences multiply. The right people will find you. Opportunities will align naturally. Doors will open before you knock. This is not randomness. It is the evidence of overflow. Once heaven's current begins, it does not stop at one miracle. It continues to reproduce after its own kind. The blessing you received becomes a seed that grows into a harvest of blessings. You are not chasing miracles anymore. Miracles are chasing you. But overflow is not meant for comfort alone. It is a call to stewardship. When you live in the flow of abundance, you become a conduit for others. You are now heaven's distributor, a vessel of divine generosity. The same power that blessed you wants to bless through you. The world around you is desperate for light, and your overflow carries that illumination. When you give, when you speak encouragement, when you intercede, you are expanding heaven's reach on earth. You will soon notice your language changing. You'll stop saying, "I'm waiting for it," and start saying, "It's already done." That is overflow thinking. You'll stop praying for survival and start decreeing dominion. Overflow doesn't beg, it commands. It walks in authority, knowing that every need is already met in divine timing. Tonight, you cross the border between blessing and abundance. You will not return to scarcity, because heaven has shifted your atmosphere. The flow has begun, and will continue as long as your heart remains open. You will live in divine rhythm, where grace meets gratitude, and favor meets faith. This is your inheritance as a child of light. This is your 10-11 covenant, to walk not in lack, but in lasting overflow. Type "I live in overflow" in the comments if your spirit receives this truth. Blessing code 2323 is flowing into your home, your finances, and your destiny. And now, the divine hour stands complete. The clock of heaven has struck, and the promise has been fulfilled. You have crossed the line between waiting and walking, between asking and receiving. This is your 10-11 covenant, a sacred seal between your spirit and the Eternal One. What began as anticipation has become manifestation. The words that echoed in the night at exactly 10:11 p.m., "Your miracle will arrive," have now found their home within your life. Hear this truth, child of light. When heaven makes a covenant, it cannot be broken. The release you experience tonight is not temporary, it is eternal. You are no longer a seeker of miracles. You are a carrier of them. Wherever you go, divine timing will follow. Doors will open before you, even knock, and favor will surround you like light. For the God who moved at 10:11 has not stopped moving. He now moves within you. This is the closure of waiting and the opening of purpose. The covenant has been written upon your heart with fire. You are no longer under the shadow of delay. You are standing in the radiance of fulfillment. Every seed of faith, every word of trust, every tear of endurance has now become part of your eternal testimony. The heavens rejoice, the angels sing, and the Spirit of God whispers, "It is done." Walk forward with courage, for your time is sealed. Remember this moment. Speak of it often. For tonight, heaven touched earth, and earth responded. You have entered your 10:11 covenant, a promise that cannot fade. Type "My covenant" is sealed in the comments if you receive this divine closure. Blessing code 1011 is now eternally active upon your life. If this message stirred your spirit, then you have already touched heaven's flow. The same light that moved through these words can now move through your giving. Every seed you plant into this prophetic stream carries the oil of the 10:11 covenant. When you give through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not just supporting a message, you are extending God's voice across the nations. I declare to you now, those who sow into this moment will walk in multiplied miracles. Your giving is not a transaction. It is a divine agreement. Heaven watches every act of obedience and responds in overflow. As you release your offering, the same anointing that opened your miracle will open the doors for others through you. Move swiftly, for the anointing of 10:11 is still flowing. Sow into the light, and the light will guard your path. This is your prophetic act of faith. Do it now. Blessing code 1011. Infinity is sealing abundance over every giver in Jesus' name.